Hey again, everybody. So today I want to talk about a quote from Marcus Aurelius that is something that I think is extremely important when it comes to self-improvement, self-discipline, but also self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth, and everything that kind of falls under the self-improvement umbrella. And so the quote is, and the title of the video, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." So this is to say that the standards that we hold with ourselves, sometimes either we have them too high, or the standards that we have with other people, we have them too high, and our tolerance of the other people or even of ourselves may be out of balance. We might have too high or too low of expectations for either one. And so to start with the first half of the quote, be tolerant of others. For me, I have grown up with quite a bit of patience, and I think that was mostly the result of growing up with a speech impediment. And because of my family situation, I was given a lot of opportunity or a lot of situations where I was able to experience or grow to have more patience. The people that I was surrounded with and the experiences that I had growing up definitely harbored the right environment for me to kind of gain that. And also having patience with myself was kind of the biggest thing. And so as I learned that, my tolerance of other people is, I would say, generally is pretty high. And it's more so very specific things that will kind of set me off. But one of those things recently that is something that I'm trying to work on that kind of makes me upset of other people is just when it comes to hypocrisy and not being consistent. And it's something that everybody does, and everybody kind of will say one thing and then do the same thing, or things like that. And this is something that I know that I do, you know plenty often, as often as anybody else does, but I really only see it when somebody else does it. And I want to call them out on it. I want to say, like, hey, like, you shouldn't do that. But I know that I do it too. And so this is kind of the example that I'm giving of what I'm trying to do to improve on with my tolerance of other people. Because that's kind of the biggest one right now that is kind of troublesome, or something that I want to be better about, because I think I'm quick to judge, quick to assume the situation of the other person based on that behavior. And I really only do that because I have been in that situation too. And I know what I should be doing to not be doing that. And because I know that, then I have this expectation that other people should also know that too. But maybe they're on a different path, or on a different spot in the same path that I am. And so that's kind of a example for tolerating other people for me, and that you should always be as tolerant as possible and not quick to anger, quick to violence, quick to anything when it comes to other people, because they are exactly that. They're an other person. They're not under your control, and in the dichotomy of control, they're outside of that circle that you have, that is within your control. And what is in your control is how strict you are with yourself. And so to transition this to the second half of the quote, being strict with oneself. And this strict is kind of a negative word. Strict kind of sounds like you are commanding or demanding, or that there is a price to be paid should you not meet certain things. And while that is partially true when it comes to yourself, it is more so the level of respect and worth that you see within yourself. And so being strict, or in a better word, disciplined with yourself is a form of self-love. And so if you're somebody who is struggling with self-confidence or self-worth or self-discipline, one thing to start with is look at the standards that you are setting for other people. If there was somebody else that was in the exact same situation that you are in, or maybe you have a friend who, really is, what do you want them to do? What do you think that they should do to be better? And what is the standard that you're setting for that other person? Because we all kind of subconsciously, think we know what other people should be doing. And really that's a reflection, like I said, of what we know that we should be doing. So that's a perfect place to start, is what are you picking up about other people that you think that they need to work on? And then look at you, and have you mastered that? Or do you need to also work on that? And if so, then, sort that out first before you seek to help other people sort it out. And so that's a good space, or a good place to start with figuring out how to be more disciplined or more strict with you. Also, we all kind of know the self-improvement habits that we should be doing, right? Reading, journaling, working out, meditating, things like that. And those are all very general things and aren't things that are going to be applicable to every person. But they're also a good place to start. And I'm kind of giving a lot of things of places to start, but I know that this still happens along the path, that we may be doing all of those things. We may be journaling, we may be working out, we may have friends and be a social person, but something happens, or just there's an off day and we lose that self-confidence, we lose that self-worth. And for that, I would say, take a little break. Take a step back. Recenter. And recentering is a phrase that I've used for myself for multiple years, where I just think, okay, when I'm in a stressful thing or my confidence is low, I have to kind of step back and recenter. And so I go back to the basics of who I am. I go back to where I was born, where I grew up, what my family culture is, what my hometown culture is, what my friend group culture is. And I look at who is around me now, who are the people who really see my worth, and who are the people who are not. Because I think oftentimes loss of self-confidence usually comes from the reaction of a different person, right? Maybe somebody tells us either it's valid criticism or they're just being rude. And it's pretty easy to distinguish that based on what the intent is behind what they're saying. So if it's, some stranger that just insults you and it's just out of the blue, no real reason behind it, whatever. Like, I don't, like, that might hurt for like a day, maybe, an hour or two, but I'm going to forget it pretty soon because I don't have any respect for that person. I don't know them. I don't care what I look like in their eye. But if it's from somebody that does know us and it's a criticism or it's an insult, that's going to cut deeper. And so it's taking a step back and seeing where the criticism is coming from is the first step to know if it is something that we should be concerned about. And for me, usually this is not coming from anybody else. It's just coming from me. For example, I'll share an insecurity that I have. I'm insecure about my hairline. I've never thought I have a very good one. My hair is pretty thin. I have a lot of hair, but it's pretty thin, and I've always been very, very paranoid that I'm going to lose it one day, and that my hairline is, not very good. But I have actually never had anybody tell me that. It's only ever been me. There has never been a separate person who has said, hey man, like your hairline is really bad. Or dude, like you got to get on, something or you're going to lose your hair. Nobody's ever told me that. So the insecurity that I have of this is solely coming from me. And although I do think that, maybe it is, it is necessary for me to take good care of it and to prevent loss should that happen. But I don't really need to be concerned about it as an insecurity or as a or as a source of a loss of self-confidence, because that insecurity is only coming from inside of me. And if I can come to terms with that, because it's only coming from me, then I can actually be more confident with it. And, same thing goes for my speech impediment. Most people that I meet, they may notice it. Some people don't. Actually, most people don't. And when I tell them, they're like, oh, I never even picked up on it. And other people will say, yeah, I kind of thought that you might, but I didn't really want to ask. And so that's another example of that, where I know days when it's bad and days when it's good, but I rarely have people actually point it out. And so that's the other biggest thing, is where are those insecure thoughts coming from? Are they coming from somebody actually telling you it, or are they coming from within you? And is that a reflection of you needing to be more strict with your own thoughts or more tolerant with others? So that's kind of what I've been thinking about. And I think that this quote, at the core of it, is about self-improvement and self-discipline. But I think on a broader scale, it can be about self-worth, self-love, and being strict or disciplined is a form of self-love, and also having control over your thoughts and what you're telling yourself. So something to think about, something to reflect on, and I hope you all are doing very well. And if you have negative thoughts, try to find what the root of it is, because that's the first step of taking them out or being able to rationalize why they're wrong, because I know that's what kind of works for me. So that'll be about it for now. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.